Good morning. Welcome to Saturday Morning Coffee. My name is Lance McKinnon. I'm here today with my co-host, Tiffany Linderman. Good morning, Tiffany. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you? Where are you at?
Where am I at? You know what? I am in a little town called Penn Yan at the Penn Yan Diner. If you remember, we had a guest on a while ago, maybe episode 3, Carrie Ahern. I am sitting in the diner where Saturday Morning Coffee was really Saturday Morning Coffee. And you never knew what kind of conversation you were going to get. So I am privileged to be sitting in the Finger Lakes in the diner. Where are you at?
I am home, but I am so happy you said that because conveniently I have my Penn Yan Diner. Yes.
Oh, great minds think alike.
Yeah, it's an amazing cup, so I had to bring it. But
I know, you bring it to the party. Excellent. So, is it just you and I here today on Saturday, or what?
Oh, this wouldn't be Saturday Morning Coffee if we didn't have a guest, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So, do we have a guest today?
We do.
Since I'm sitting in the diner, I don't know. Do we have a guest today?
If you just scroll down with your eyes for a moment, hopefully you'll see.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have the most amazing guest today. Her name is Lauren Overman. She is an art therapist. She's also a business owner of multiple different things. And I think I'm going to coin her as the self-health guru as well. And so hopefully today's conversation, we can talk a little bit about some of those things, all those things, and whatever you want to talk about, Lauren. But good morning. Nice to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Nice to have you, Lauren.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
We'll let you just go ahead and get into it because Stephanie and I will just go back and forth talking about coffee.
Hey, that's not a bad topic of discussion.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
All right. Well, I'm Lauren Overman. I live in Virginia, which is where I'm at right now. I'm not at a cool diner or anything like that. It's just my bedroom. I have to close the kids off, so they're downstairs with the door locked. But I am a business owner of 2 businesses. I have a paint and sip studio in Chesapeake and a private practice for counseling. I'm trying to, since the last few months, we've grown exponentially as far as our counselors and our clients with the pandemic still going. There's been a huge increase in mental health needs. So we've been working hard at trying to meet that need, but it's been very difficult. So that's my 2 businesses currently. I am in the process with my 2 co-owners of Wishing Well Counseling Center, which is my private practice. We're in the process of opening another business, which is community-based agency. So it's not just serving, the private practice population, but more going into the community and helping people with just daily living skills and trying to improve their independence. So
can I ask, how does that work? So private practice, I'm assuming people, they seek it out and they pay out of pocket, right?
Right, yeah, or insurance.
Okay, what is community? I don't really understand what's community-based process.
It's actually me and my 2 business owners. We met at a community-based agency. That's where we all worked prior to opening Wishing Well. So we're very familiar with that. And basically it's, counselors going into the home. So they have several clients and they spend maybe like 10 hours a week in the home with that client, working on their concerns or areas of growth that they want to achieve right in the action. So, when you come to a private practice, it's like an hour a week, maybe working on your goals. Whereas the community-based agency is way more, frequent visiting and just much more intense.
That sounds so a lot more in depth, really working with that person to get them where they're trying to go. Right.
It's dealing more with like the severely mentally ill. So a much different population than what you typically see in outpatient.
How did you,
Well, go ahead, Jeff.
sorry,
No,
Lance, go.
ahead. I'm sitting back enjoying the coffee.
I'm sorry, I have so many questions for
No, go
her,
it.
but what inspired you in the first place to go into this type of work? I mean, obviously you're so passionate about it. You've grown over the last couple of years since you've been doing this and now branching out to more. What really brought you to this in the first place?
Well, it actually started in high school when I learned about art therapy. I had no idea that was even a career possibility. And I really loved just the field of psychology and art. So being able to find a way to combine it was awesome and very eye-opening for me. And so I remember saying in high school that my two goals were to have an art studio and a private practice. So it started, I don't know, when we graduate, like 16, 17 years ago. So it's been, in the back of my mind for that amount of time, and just has been, I've been steadily working towards that.
And what kind of things do you do in an art therapy studio?
Well, so I'm also a licensed counselor, nationally certified counselor, registered art therapist, and a certified first responder counselor. So I do, like the talk therapy, which a lot of people are more familiar with. I have training in play therapy too. So I do that with a lot of children, since play is their means of communication. And then with art therapy, it's very similar to play therapy in that you don't have to be as verbal. You're not stuck on the words and really focused on that. You're more, it's less threatening. You're working with a medium to reach your goals and to process through different experiences and feelings through the artwork.
That's absolutely amazing. I'm sitting here thinking about how do you divide up all your time, because you are helping so many people. And I mean, and you also mentioned that you're a mother as well too. I mean,
Yes.
so I'm talking some woman empowerment right here.
Right.
My hat is off to you for
Thank you.
for all that you're doing and still taking time on Saturday to be with us. Thank you.
Right. And my husband's in the Navy too, so that definitely adds a different variable to everything that can make things a lot more difficult, because I can't always rely on him to be home and take care of the kids or take them to appointments. And, so I'm, running that show too.
No.
I love how you put variable. That's so nice of you.
Well, thank your husband very much for serving and protecting.
Thank you.
I know Carrie, who owns the diner here, she was in the Air Force. So
Awesome.
if she was here, she would pop up.
Yeah.
But I can't get her to pop up. So but she'll watch the show. But
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Well, I just have to say I've known Lauren for so long back in high school. And I just have to say the fact that she knew exactly what she wanted to do and made it happen is just so impressive. Honestly, I've been extremely honored to know you. But I think the fact that you decided this is what you wanted to do, and not everyone's lucky enough to know what they want to do when they're your age or your age when you were in high school. But the fact that you decided this is what you were passionate about and I'm going to take the steps to do it, you've been very, very purposeful through all of that. So what guidance would you say to those who are thinking or in high school or thinking about the things that they want to do for their future? What would you recommend when they're thinking about that, how to achieve that, like yourself?
I would say the first thing I would recommend is just to not put a lot of pressure on it, because it's, you're in high school. It's rare to know what you want to do in high school. I have so many clients that are, young adults or teenagers in high school, and it's overwhelming. You don't know what you want, and you change so much. So I am very fortunate in that I found something that I was very passionate about and remained passionate about it, because passions can change. And there have been many times that I wanted to give up or change direction just based on military stuff, moving and having different requirements and having to overcome a lot of other hurdles that I didn't foresee, coming into this. But I would say just, don't put a lot of pressure on it. Just kind of think about, what interests you and what you enjoy that doesn't necessarily always involve making money, because that's not going to make you happy.
Sure. Great
I love
point,
that.
Great point. Now, are you seeing in the therapy a lot of younger, you had mentioned but a lot of people are going through traumatic stuff, coming out of, well, I guess we're still in it, whatever you want to be, whatever we call, I don't know what we're calling it anymore now. But like you said, are you seeing an increase in numbers, and is there a specific age range that you're seeing it? Because I can imagine it's just everywhere.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there has been a huge increase, but not necessarily in any age demographic. When the pandemic first hit, Wishing Well Counseling Center, we put together, it was 100, I believe, 100 take-home kits for families to keep them occupied at home, to give them, we had like lists of self-care activities, lists of ways to bond as a family without spending a lot of money or any money, and just little things in there like pots with seeds and crayons, coloring books, things like that would help foster that togetherness, as opposed to screen time, because we know that that's oftentimes easy as a parent to do, and we've been home a lot, so there is the potential for a lot of screen time. We did. Yeah,
as we're doing screen time now.
Right. Right.
No,
that's okay.
But that's great. That about how, for you though, how are you balancing all of that?
Well, I would say, I mean, I have amazing co-owners of Wishing Well Counseling Center that have been great to, great sounding boards, just great to vent to when you're feeling frustrated. And, like with this pandemic, there's kind of no end in sight right now. So that is very discouraging to a lot of people, myself included. Great friends at Painting with a Twist. One of my closest friends, who Tiffany and I virtually run with, she really takes control of that and markets and manages that for me. So just having a lot of people that are in my village and are really supportive, and my family, my husband, of course, he's very supportive of everything I do. So just having that village is awesome for me.
That's great. That's great. What would you say to those that don't have that village around them? That's true. I mean, I have a pretty strong village around me myself. Obviously, Tiffany is one of them. She's like my right hand. I think she's both. She's everything. But
right.
but what do you tell the folks that do not have the village around them and
right.
they're struggling? What would be a suggestion?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a lot of a main goal, a primary goal of a lot of my clients is to work on fostering and developing that social support, because it is so necessary. I mean, as humans, we're very social, and we need that social interaction, even if you're an introvert. So you need that sense of togetherness, and to not have that is very detrimental. So we work on ways, maybe thinking outside of the box to maybe connect with other people, or form new friendships, or reconnect with old friendships, things like that, just to take control of that. But in the meantime, self-care is super important. As Tiffany said, I love self-care. I'm a big fan of that. And, I check in with my clients every single session about self-care and how much or how little they're doing, and coming up with a plan to continue that.
Can you elaborate on self-care? I mean, because that is a very broad range.
Right.
I know the three of us don't know, but I want to make sure that all of our followers and listeners know where you're going with that.
Right. Of course. When I say self-care, a lot of people automatically go to like hygiene and eating properly and things like that, which is a huge part of self-care. But to sum it up, self-care is just really anything that is restorative for you. So whether that's watching trashy television, drinking a glass of wine at night in moderation, going for walks, yoga, getting enough sleep, eating a balanced diet, spending time with your family and friends, just making sure that you're feeling that connection with yourself and restoring, because as we do our things, do our, jobs, whatever, we're constantly draining. So being able to kind of refuel ourselves is very important.
No, that's good. And you had mentioned earlier about introverts and working with them. Have you seen extroverts become introverts since the pandemic? And how challenging is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about it, but I would say, thinking about it right this moment, that there probably have been an increase in in that change, the extroverts maybe, I don't know if they're necessarily changing to introverts, but they are just struggling more because they they don't have as much interaction, especially when things were shut down and we had to stay home. I mean, that was hard for a lot of people. I'm an introvert, so it wasn't as difficult for me as it was for my husband, who is an extreme extrovert, as Tiffany knows. So he struggled with that portion. I struggled with being home and being around the kids all the time and not having that break and that, adult time away from home. So we struggled for different reasons, but it didn't necessarily change like who we were at the core, an introvert and extrovert. It's just different struggles.
I'd love to kind of redirect a little bit. So you talked about self-care. I'd love to hear about your self-care story. Is it something that you've always been very good about, being intentional, or has that been something more recently that you've done? Could you share a little bit about that story?
Yeah. I think everyone struggled at some point at self-care. I know I have, when things have gotten busy and you just kind of forget to do it or make it a priority. I do make that very intentional now. It's harder to find time now with, everything going on and, just having young kids that need me a lot and, Braden being gone or being home, who knows, it's harder. So I tend to get on my self-care at night, after the kids go to bed, make sure they get to bed on time. And then I tend to watch like trashy television or read books, take a bath, things like that. But I do also make sure to exercise every day. And I'm very fortunate in, owning my businesses and running a private practice that I can be very flexible in my schedule. So I don't work on Mondays. I take off to do self-care, run my errands, doctor's appointments, things like that. And then don't work Friday afternoon. So that's kind of my boundary to make sure that I'm able to give what I need to everyone else.
Yeah, and you are giving a lot to a lot of people, and I can tell. And I've known you for a little while, Lauren, and you're very, very modest in the amount of people that you are impacting, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on today, because you're absolutely making a huge difference in a lot of lives. And and I'm all about women empowerment. And what would you say to women who want to go out and start their own businesses like you have? I mean, you haven't done one, but you got several. And so let's touch on that, because we have some people that are just sitting at home thinking, I could do this. What would you suggest to them?
Just do it. That's kind of what I did, which was very scary for a little bit, just kind of jumping out on faith, which is hard, to give up your secure income and kind of hope and pray that things will work out. And just giving a lot of your time, so you have to be focused, have to have your goal set, and then just kind of go for it.
Exactly. Good. Did you see any setbacks in your companies during the pandemic?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just the difficulty in, we were 100% in person for the private practice. And then when the pandemic hit, it was like, boom, we had to shut down. We all went to telehealth, which we had barely any experience in. And just having that switch from, being able to connect with people in person and then still having to have the same skills when you're literally only seeing this much of someone over a screen is very different and very difficult for a lot of us. So it took a period of adjustment for that. And then for the paint and sip studio, that was mandated to shut down for 4 months. So I couldn't do anything. And that was really stressful.
How do you do art therapy virtually?
It's really hard. I honestly haven't done a lot of art therapy virtually. I've been lucky in that I've been able to have more like play therapy techniques over the computer with my younger kiddos. And then with the adults, we were fine just talking and keeping up with that. But, we have done some art therapy as far as making sure they have certain materials and things on their end, kind of talking with the parents beforehand, making sure that's all set up. And then me having some materials on my end, but it's definitely not the same as in-person art therapy, being able to be right there over the paper or the, whatever with someone.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And so how would one person find you for therapy sessions? I mean, could I walk in off the street and say, hey, I need art therapy? I
Right.
mean, how do we find you?
Well, I'm on different registries as far, for my different credentials. They all have like different registries, and I'm certified in trauma focused cognitive behavioral therapy. So there's a big registry for that. And then the main source is Psychology Today, which you can find really anyone in your area on Psychology Today. Most counselors do advertise or have a profile on there. So it's good. You can search through your, with your insurance, your location, different concerns you might have. So it's very, very good to be able to filter all that. And then our website is wishingwellcounselingcenter.com. So it has all of our counselors listed and a little bio about them. So we have people contact through there too.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's great. And the reason why I bring that up is because I know a lot of people, I mean, I'm not going to say a lot of people, but maybe some people just get stuck and just don't know what to do. And, in that next, what is that next step for me? I know I need to do something. So that's why I asked that question, like, how are you available? Because, Saturday Morning Coffee is throughout the United States and across the seas. But I would highly recommend people look for organizations like yourself in their communities if they're struggling. Would you recommend that?
Definitely. And Psychology Today is a great resource for that, to be able to look in your area or just Google. I mean, a lot of people, advertise online, so it would be able to pop up where you're searching. But definitely call, make an appointment. A lot of agencies do have like emails or like a form on their website that you can fill out, so that if you're nervous to make that first call, that you can go ahead and put your information in and then get the call from that agency, so that it takes a little bit of that pressure off.
Absolutely. And I'll just say that I think right now, some people may be in a spot where they need help. Some people right now are just fine, right? But you never know when that day it might hit you that you're like, I need help. And so I think it's just important to know who and where to reach out. Obviously, as we talked about our village and having our support systems around us, sometimes we need somebody a little bit more specialized in expertise like yourself to be able to work with and get sorted through some things that might be going on in your life. So that's really great.
Right. And it's great with it. I mean, the one thing that has come out of the pandemic is the accessibility of counseling, because not many counselors did telehealth before. And now I would say 99% of counselors do telehealth. So, you can go in person to the agencies that are open for that, or do telehealth. So it's, you can just do it on your lunch break, do it from home, do it from your bed, whatever.
Yeah, or from the diner. I might.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but no, that's great though, because I think everybody's carrying something with them, whether it's good or it's bad. I've lost track of how many months we've been doing this. I would say everybody's been impacted via family member, friend, neighbor, roommate.
Right.
The spectrum is all the way across the board. I mean, I could imagine one person saying they have not personally been impacted.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why we really felt that it was prominent that we had you on today, because people are walking around with that invisible backpack.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to speak from a guy's side. Sometimes men have a tendency to say, hey, I know I have an issue. I have a problem, but I don't want to deal with it. And what I want to say to all the men out there, put your pride aside. And if you are struggling and you are having a problem, reach out for help. Do not let pride hurt you and damage you even more. It is okay as a man to ask for help.
Definitely. Yeah. And even counselors. I mean, we're often in counseling just to deal with the things that we've, heard, and just our own, daily struggles as well. So it's, it's not a bad thing to be in counseling. It's very helpful and awesome, I think.
Yeah. Well, counseling comes with that stigma, like, oh, I'm laying on a leather chair,
right.
I'm laying back and no, but there's so many different ways and so many things of helping you open up your mind to new creative things as
Right.
well too. So, let's take that off the table and, let's everybody start moving forward. And I'm glad you mentioned that because, some people say, oh, I'm going to a counselor and immediately think there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But it's growth.
Exactly. We all need help at different times.
Yep. I was going to say, none of us are immune.
Right.
I've been there. So I think that there's probably more people than you really know out there that have either been and seen a counselor or are in need of it. So it's nothing to be shy about, for sure.
No, it shouldn't be shy or ashamed or anything else like that. Like I said, one of the most important things that I said, I was speaking from a guy's side, is that it is okay to ask for help. Boys grow up to be men, and sometimes they're told big boys don't cry. Yes, it's okay for big boys to cry.
Right.
It is, but it's okay to reach out for help. And, and I really want to drive that home because I know where I've been, and I know all the gentlemen who have been my mentors over the years that have helped me along the way to be sitting here at the diner, having this conversation. So it is okay to ask for help.
Yeah, and counselors do not judge. I mean, we've seen it all and understand where it's coming from. There's always a reason behind the behavior. So there's no judgment. So, I want people to know that that's not something that you should be concerned about because it's not, that judgment is not going to be there.
So what's next for Lauren, since you're doing everything right now and saving the world? What's next for you?
Well, we're working on, finalizing everything for that third business that I talked about, the community-based agency. So that's kind of where our focus is now, business-wise. We're also looking at expanding either in our second location at Wishing Well or opening a third location there. So it's, we're growing there. And me personally, I'm looking at taking some breaks. I already planned a trip to Portugal with my sister in a few months, and then to Ireland and Scotland with my husband later this year, early next year. We probably have to change it because of the military. So just comes with the territory.
Well, if you're in Ireland, you're going to have to stop in and see Liam Ryan.
Okay.
Our very good friend, Liam Ryan. I was thinking that the other day. I need to book a trip to Ireland myself to go see Liam.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, so we'll make sure you get set up with Liam while you're in Ireland.
Okay.
And a tour around. But
Yeah, that'd be great.
I do know it's Saturday morning and you're locked in your bedroom and the kids are probably painting on the walls or something like that.
Better not be.
Maybe art therapy.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Might be some timeout therapy with that.
Yeah, but I don't want to keep you, and I know you're extremely busy, and I want to thank you very much for being on Saturday Morning Coffee all the way from Virginia. I want to thank you for women empowerment. I want to thank you for all the people that you are helping. Thank you. Keep making a difference in people's lives today and every day.
Yes,
Cheers.
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. Bye-bye.